Hello everyone, good day. I trust that you all are doing well. I'm Jen Nicholson and I am attached to the enhanced curriculum. I'm also a graduate senior mistress attached to a primary school. Today our topic is making assessment an integral component of every lesson. What is assessment and why assessment? What is assessment? Assessment, it's a process of gathering information, gathering evidence of what each learner actually knows and understand so that teachers can assess them or help them in bridging learning gaps. And you may wonder, learning gaps? Yes. Every learner have learning gaps. Some have it more than others. Some have it less than others. But every single learner that comes into the classroom have learning gaps. All right? Why should teachers assess learners? That's another big one. Why should teachers assess learners? We assess learners to see the level learners are at. You have to know. You receive a new set of learners into your care. September is coming. You have to know where they're at before you can help them to bridge these gaps. You just can't take them like that and say, okay, I already know this. It is like you're having a headache and you're not feeling well. And you go to a doctor and before he run tests or anything, he gives you some medication. He said, okay, use this paracetamol and you're going to be all right. No, he would not have dealt with the issue. So when we do assessment, and there's something that we do when the kids now come to us, we do the diagnostic assessment. Why do we do this? We do it so that we can better understand where they are at, how we can help them, what we can do. It's like a doctor. You go do your blood test, you go do your scans, and then you prescribe, okay, this and this and this is what we are going to do to help you. That's like assessment. From the diagnostic, we check it, we look at it, and then we say, all right, this is how I can help this child to bridge this learning gap. This is what I'm going to do. And let me say this here. This new enhanced curriculum, it is not like the ones in time past where it was more teacher-centered. This enhanced curriculum is more learner-centered. So in everything that we do, the learners are in it. This is a learner-centered curriculum. Assessment helps students learn. It is impossible to know whether students have learned or whether teaching has been effective without doing assessment. Now we teach a topic. We have a new topic today, and we're dealing with this new topic. And we finish with this, and we say, okay, kids, that's it. Tomorrow they come again, and we did not go back. And we're waiting until the end of the term or whenever to administer the end of terms. But what are we doing? We have to do assessment continually to ensure that the kids, the learners, I should say rather, understand the concept that is being taught. Assessment do not have to be all the time a boring thing, pencil and paper, whatever. There are lots of fun things that we can do with our learners to ensure that, learning is taking place. Some of these things are, and some of the games that we can do like pass the ball. They come to school in the morning. We put them in circle. Good morning, children. Yesterday we cover this topic, super score. And so you give them a ball and they're passing it around and they're passing it around. And whoever the ball stops at, they answer a question that you ask. You can do fishing game with them. You have a pond, you make it, and you put the hook to the end of the rod, and there's a question in the basket pertaining to whatever topic you want them to do, and you catch it. You can do pick me. It's like a chart on the wall, and I'm giving you all these ideas so that come September, if you have not been doing this, then you have a repertoire of ideas that you can pull from and that you can use so that, we can have success in this entire assessment and in bridging the learning gaps. Hopscotch, let's say you're doing close open shapes. You draw your hopscotch. Children like these things, so you're giving them things that they would gravitate to, and you have it there. And when they jump, whatever box they stop at, if it's an open or closed, they would tell you, well, okay, this is an open shape or this is a closed shape. You can do the snake game. If you're going to do skip counting, let them understand that there are more than 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They can do 3 and so forth. You have dice game. We can do dice games. The same biscuit boxes that we have in school. You paper it neatly, and then you make it in a dice, and you put questions on it, like whatever you want to ask, and when they roll it, wherever it stops, the kids answer that. There's a Price is Right wheel. When they spin that wheel, it's a very colorful wheel. You can make it if you used to look at the Price is Right show, or you can go and check it out because it's not there and it's not running anymore. Very colorful, and so you can put your questions, and this go for all the subject area, whatever it is, and they spin. And the beautiful thing about this one here is if they can't answer, if the learners can't answer a particular question that, the wheel would have stopped at, then they can pass it on. They have the choice to pass it on to a friend. Well, I can't do it. Sam, you have to answer this question for me. All right? So there's a whole lot of things that we can do for assessment. It really, really, really doesn't have to be boring. Teachers need to have a plan. In anything that we do in life, we always should have a plan for success. And therefore, teachers need to have a plan to guide them in using the information that comes out of their assessment. You have to get a plan to use this information that comes out of your assessment. If the learner is encountering difficulties, instead of the teacher reteaching, and you just hope for the best, you find strategies that you can use to ensure that the learners will better understand a concept taught. You come up with various ideas, various strategies, and I just give you some ideas there, like the hopscotch game. As simple as open and close shape Miss Song, sometimes kids aren't able to say whether it's open or closed. Angles, all of these things, you can use various strategies to ensure that learning is taking place and the learners are grasping the concept that you would want to put over to them. You work out a plan so that the desired outcome can be achieved. And that is why we have plan, and that is why we have assessment. Because you understand, and no educator, no classroom teacher wants a child coming into your class at point A, and then at the end of that year, that school year, the child leaves at point A. That is wrong. You would want to move that child from point A to point B or C. You want to move that child along. You understand? Imagine a child coming into your class, can't spell their name or can't write their name. And that child is leaving your class, still cannot spell or write the name. That is sad. But it brings great contentment and joy to you when that child is ready to leave your class. And sometimes it's not a whole big step, It's a little step that matters. And that child is able to leave your care and can identify their name, spell it, and write it. You would have done something. And that child will remember you for life instead of they just passing through. All right? Assessment helps students learn, plain and simple. What do I mean? It is impossible to know whether students have learned or whether teaching has been effective without doing an assessment. Assessment helps students learn. They know where they're at. And because it is a learner-centered curriculum, it means that we are going to involve the learners in every step of the way. It means that we work with them one-on-one. You're teaching a topic. They don't even have to see you, but you're monitoring them, you're assessing the situation. And that is where your journal comes in. You're making jot-ins because you have 18, 20 learners in a class. And at the end of the day, if you don't make your jot-ins or you don't put it in your journal of what exactly you have been noticing, it is highly impossible when you're sitting down to plan that you would remember every fine detail. You're looking at them, you're watching them, you're standing in a corner, you have your journal, and you're watching at them. You don't have to assess all of them at one time. This is we're going to do maths this morning. We're looking at mathematics. Today I'm going to assess 3 or 4 persons. While I'm interacting with everybody, I'm going to focus more on these 3 or 4 persons. And so as you focus on them, you're making your jot-ins. Okay, I recognize that John is having a little difficulty here. All right. I recognize that Sue, she understands this. So what we can do, we can pair her up with John as in a peer teaching. Maybe that would help. Oh, I see Henry is quite capable in doing that because look, he's explaining this thing beautifully to this person. Nice. So if you do that for every subject, at the end of the day, with every subject with different sets of children, at the end of the day, you have a better understanding of what's happening. You have a better understanding of how you are able to help move your children from point A to point B, and better understanding of bridging the learning gaps that exist. All right? I started off by saying that our topic is making assessment an integral part of every lesson. And why? Because it will determine whether or not the goals are being met. Simple. It will determine whether or not the goals are met. You go into your classroom every day and you have your plan. And because you have a plan, you have a goal that you're expecting to see. And therefore, making assessment an integral part in your lesson will determine whether or not your goals are met. Simple. It affects advancement, instructional needs, grades. It affects this. All right? There are different types of assessment that can be used to assess learners. I spoke about the diagnostic earlier. Then we have the formative and we have the summative. Let me touch a little on the formative assessment. And this here, for me, is one of the most powerful assessment that one can use. This particular assessment, formative. Formative assessment is assessment for learning. Based on evidence, and here it is, this type of assessment can be a powerful tool for evaluating and supporting students' learning. This happens in classroom when teacher would ask questions and observe individual and groups. And that is what I was speaking about earlier when I said you can be in a corner, you're just observing them and you're making your jot-ins and so forth. By doing this, you gain insights of the current status of the learner, knowledge and understanding. And I would have just explained this to you. It is successful in closing the gaps, that is the learning gaps that I was speaking about earlier. It is successful in closing that. The same powerful formative assessment. From this assessment, you know how to plan, you know what different strategies to use so that you can bring out the very best in learners. I want to say this to educators, to classroom teachers. The value that teachers add to their student is the closing of learning gaps. and I would repeat this, the value that teachers add to their students, to their learners, is the closing of learning gaps. It is a closing of learning gaps. It is helping them to move from point A to point B. It is helping them to better understand the content. It is helping them to speak knowledgeably. It is helping them to apply themselves properly. All right? Value. The value that educators as teachers add is bridging, helping learners to bridge those learning gaps. Formative assessment focuses on learner goals. You are able to take action to move students closer to learning goals. And then we have some formative assessment strategies that we can use. What are some of the strategies that we can use? We have the 3-to-1. What is 3-to-1? With the 3-to-1 strategies, the learner will say 3 things that they would have learned about the topic. They would talk about 2 things that they found most interesting. And then the one, they would ask a question, any question that they have pertaining to the topic. So 3-2-1. So when you listen to them, you understand that, hey, okay, they're getting somewhere. You also have the exit ticket. What is the exit ticket? They tell you about what they would have learned, an exit ticket. Then you have also the entrance, exit entrance. You have the entrance ticket. Okay, yesterday we covered this topic, family. So before we move on this morning, tell me something. And this here is done before you start teaching anything. You ask the children questions. So they know that when they go home in the afternoon, they have to go back through their work. They have to recap. They have to, at least as we say, pick up their books. You understand? Because when they come in the morning, they got to answer some questions. You don't just give them a free pass. Okay, I taught this thing, and if they want to learn, they learn, and that is it. No. We do not operate like that. Now let's look at summative assessment. This is assessment of learning. This is what is happening right now across Guyana in the schools. It's the end of terms. Summative. This here is done at the end of subject, end of the grade. It measures students' learning within a time frame. Okay? What have you learned? We went to school. What have you learned? What did we cover? All the topics. What have you learned? What have you learned? It is like the kids who are writing SKXC, you would have studied 5 years. Grueling, day in, day out. You barely sleep. If you got 2 hours and an hour, that is too much, and you're on it, you're going. And then you go write your CXC. What have you learned? All right? This here, it measures students' learning within a time frame. It informs grading, comparison of students' performance. This is where you get your grade. What did you learn? You learn enough to give you a distinction? Grade 1, what have you learned? So this is summative assessment. And then I spoke about the final one, which is diagnostic. And I did say what diagnostic was, as what when the child comes in, when you receive the learners for the first time, and you receive them and you want to know where they are at. And this is a mixture of diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment. Now, I do hope that I was able to bring a little clarity or better understanding where this topic is concerned. Now, let me speak to the parents. What you as parents can do. At the end of the day, when your child would have left the school environment, they go home to you. Now, as parents, what you can do, we know a lot of us, we're busy, we have things going on, life is happening. But take some time and question. Ask question, okay? What did you do today? You may not know it, but you just asking question is an assessment in itself. And when you ask question, you yourself learn something new. So, what did you do today? Oh, I don't understand that. Explain it a little more to me. Interesting. Interesting. And so you learn something. The child is able to say to you what they will have learned. And then again, in some cases, they will tell you, man, we did math, social studies, science, English. Mommy, we did everything. What did you do in science? And so go get your book and let's recap. Because if you leave them at they're going to take a free pass. Go get your book. Recap. Tell me something that you would have learned. When you continuously do this, the child know you know something. Mommy asking me question. And then sometimes mommy not asking questions alone. I get in some big bumps too. Right? And you know sometimes we prefer to get the few, I don't want to say lashes, but you know, than somebody to just give us a big bump. We cry whole day, whole night. Everything just wrong because mommy bumped me. So you know what you're going to do? The child is going to pick up. They're going to study. Okay, so when mommy asks me to, they're able to tell her something. That in itself is a motivation to the child. And once a child is motivated, they're going to come. And before you know it, even before you open your mouth and ask them, they're going to say, watch, we do this today. You see, mommy, I don't know this thing. You understand? And you yourself, you're going to get pumped up. You'll say, yes, nice. All right? Encourage what? As parents, we need to encourage our kids to, give them encouragement. Don't just, because sometimes they come, you ask them a question that they don't know. Don't shut them down. That can demotivate them. That does a whole lot. All right, go take your book. We're going to go through it. What you don't understand. And you help them. Some cases, some parents themselves can't even assist. But that shouldn't stop you from reaching with a classroom teacher and asking question yourself. Because you yourself as a parent, you should want to know what this thing is about. You should have that zeal and that to want to know so that you can help your kids. All right? Let the teacher be your friend. Ask questions. Miss, I see this thing, or saw this child came home with this thing. I really don't understand. You have parent conferencing. Go ask your question. Ask question. Help your children. Sometimes you need to tell them, good job. I'm proud of you. You're doing excellent, man. It's not always about bashing and telling them hurtful words. Only you got to school and up to now you can't understand nothing the teacher teach. No, don't do that. Good job. I'm proud of you. You don't get it today, but I'm sure you're going to get it tomorrow. We'll work on it. For encouragement for teachers now, speak with the parents. Have conversations with them. Let them know where their child is at presently. Let them know the plan and what you plan to do. Ask them for help working with you. And it is going to work. It is going to work. I know sometimes all of these would sound like a whole lot of work. So much a thing we got to do, this. But listen, at the end of the day, as educators, our main goal is to move a child from point A to point B. And assessment helps us do just that. It is important that we make assessment an integral part in the learner's learning ability, the learner's learning process. It is quite important. It's quite important, and in every lesson we assess. We assess so that we can help. We assess so that we can bridge learning gaps. We assess so that we can move the learners from point A to point B. We assess so that we can motivate the kids and show them that, they can do it. They can do it. We assess to ensure that whatever our plan is, that it is removing somewhere. We're not stagnant, but we're moving and we're going to get there. All right? The central role of assessment at all levels and across all areas of the curriculum is founded on the commitment to classroom assessment that is varied, multi-dimensional, and focuses on providing information and feedback that will be used to include more students in successful learning. And let me read that again for you, teachers. The central role of assessment of all levels and across all areas of the curriculum is founded on a commitment to classroom assessment that is varied, multi-dimensional, and focuses on providing information and feedback that will be used to include more students in successful learning. Let assessment be your friends so that you can help the kids move from point A to point B and bridge learning gaps.